Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at how you can beat the Goku Black Red Zone, which is the third stage of the Dismal Future event with no items. So essentially what happens here is Goku Black starts out pretty tough. He starts out quite strong. He then turns into Super Saiyan Rose and gets a bit more of a power increase, but not too much comparative to how strong he starts out. And yeah, he starts out as a strength type unit, and then he also comes out later on as an int type unit. And obviously we want to facilitate that, so we're avoiding bringing tech units, and we're also trying to avoid bringing physical units. The only physical unit we're bringing is Goku and Zamasu. And yeah, so in terms of the team build and everything that's kind of working out here, essentially what we've got is we've got double AGL Super Saiyan God SS Goku and Super Saiyan God SS Vegeta leads. Not only are they pretty good against the first phase because they have type advantage on all of their attacks, well, I mean they'd have that anyway, but basically they're just very good. They're very solid throughout. They help facilitate the team quite well, and they get a buff against Realm of the Gods enemies, so facing Goku Black gives them a little bit of a boost comparative to Zamasu, who'd lose a little bit of a boost, the tech Zamasu. So decided to go with the AGL Vegeta and Goku, and they did a great job. Honestly speaking, they were really awesome. I think they did a fantastic job overall. In that base form we try to keep them in the second slot as much as possible. But yeah, first slot also really helped us out with some crucial evasions and decent tanking during the time when their guard was up. So yeah, we try to keep them in the second slot as long as possible, but realistically speaking, they did a great job no matter where we put them. And then of course later on we used the Vegito transformation, and the Vegito transformation cleaned up shop and set us up to obviously do really well. So that was really good. The other rotation, or they're gonna kind of be linked up with the Super Saiyan Trunks Vegeta, or Super Saiyan Trunks and Super Saiyan God Vegeta. And the reason why they're gonna be linking up with them, it allows us to keep them in the second slot. Trunks and Vegeta are an exceptional first slot unit still, even though the event starts out super hard, barely giving them time to build up. They do a great job. And yeah, overall obviously just a great defensive unit to use alongside other units. Their active skill really helps us out as well. We then also have the AGL Zamasu after his easy air. Obviously super duper strong, has a typing advantage on the first phase, really strong in his second transformation defensively, great healing, which is going to come in handy because you can't use any items. And yeah, just a really strong unit. He's going to be linked up with the Int Alarm Urge Zamasu. I would probably use the Tech Zamasu still, maybe, but the Int Merge Zamasu does great defensively in that second slot. He's really solid, and he doesn't have type disadvantage at any point, so that does help us out as well. So yeah, Int Zamasu does a great job, and yeah, realistically really good stuff overall. And then finally we have obviously Int Mai and Goku and Zamasu. Now Goku and Zamasu, 50% evasion, that 70% defense boost, which is going to help us out, but they also have decent-ish defense as well after super, so them facing the int phase means that they should be in a good position barring anything but a direct super attack. And my kind is similar, pretty solid defense after super, but the ability to give us additional attack and defense, as well as letting us see where the super attacks are going to land, which is actually quite crucial. It allows us to just plan ahead, which is really good. So that's great. She also has evasion against any enemy she hits with her super attack, and since Goku Black does not do AoE supers, his super attack is single target, or his attacks are single target, so it's a pretty good situation for her because she can be set up and hit him and then has evasion, and then things are pretty good. We'll be using the active skill of Vegeta and Trunks as soon as we can, alongside Vegito's. We're not able to get Vegito's active skill off, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It would have been nice to get that extra damage and super attacks, but yeah, he's really solid. And then we'll be using the transformation for Zamasu depending on the conditions of whether there's super attacks in the rotation or not, which Mai will be able to tell us. So some pretty good stuff all around, I think. Overall, just a really solid team. Just did a great job. It only took around 2 tries with this team. Originally, I had a couple of tech units which I decided to drop out. I also dropped out Physical Future Gohan, as he struggled too much in the first phase, especially if he ended up in a rotation not faced with Trunks and Vegeta. So the little trick with Trunks and Vegeta, much like any unit with an active skill, is obviously they have guard in the first slot, but if you use their active skill while they are in the first slot, it will treat it as if they are still the first attacker in the turn. So they'll have guard no matter what this turn, which is pretty big, and that's why I eventually decided to move them into the second slot. Which allows me to let them tank the super attack and then allows Vegito to set everyone up with all that additional defense, which is really good as well. So that was a decision I decided to make based on obviously the information given to us, yeah, and just everything that's kind of functioned really well. Vegito doing really nicely. Obviously, tanks exceptional before his super attacks, and he gets a couple of super attacks off and he still tanks really well afterwards. But also it's that 50% raise of defense for the rest of the rotation. That's a really big crucial component to Vegito. It makes him really solid, and yeah, really good stuff overall. Honestly speaking, I was just quite happy with this team. I didn't have any major issues with anything the team did. I think overall, I was just, any kind of cruise control, especially with the way our starting rotations were set up. I don't think we had any major issues the whole way through. And yeah, you can see Vegeta and Trunks tanking Goku Black pretty well. It shows how hard he hits, by the way, that they have guard and I think like 700k defense, and they still take like 200k or something. Which is pretty crazy. He hits pretty hard. It's pretty nuts. Then we got Zawasu and Zamasu, or Gowasu and Zamasu. Doing a good job as a floater. Obviously, also giving us that additional defense. Yeah, I decided because there's no super attacks, I then decided to activate the transformation for Zamasu to try and get that extra damage, because my theory was that we could get that extra damage and then essentially like finish off Goku Rose, whereas there was a risk that Mai could then get hit and Mai would take quite a lot of damage. So yeah, it was kind of like a decision to end things earlier, and I didn't see any downside to it, so it ended up working out. We didn't get the crit, but still 15 million super attack tends to do quite a fair chunk of damage. No follow-ups either, but hey, it was just enough to tip us over the edge. And then Zamasu did really well here, obviously cleaning up quite nicely. I think he got 3 super attacks, and his damage can be pretty good. I've got 1 dupe, and then his damage can be pretty good actually, all things considered. So yeah, I mean, he's really solid. I think it's a shame that Zamasu shares his name, but I still think there's a really good position for him as a floater on the team. I think it's great. But yeah, that's it. So all sorted, done, sealed, and dusted. And yeah, that's a no item running against Goku Black, which was quite tough, quite an interesting one. But yeah, we'll definitely take a look at some more in future. But I just really wanted to try this one because the Goku Black one felt quite tough, quite interesting to do. That's gonna be it for me. Bye.